Well, you've mentioned wokeism, so let's talk about wokeism. I hear it all the time, from wokeism that there's no definition of wokeism. And if you can't define it, then it doesn't really exist. Now, I'm going to grant them the idea that wokeism is confused. It is a mess of competing and often incoherent political ideologies that don't make any sense if you were to stack them out next to each other. They're totally bizarre. But, I mean, the worst D-grade Netflix original horror film is still a film, even if it's a nonsensical mess. So is wokeism still a political ideology, even if it's just a nightmare designed by toddlers?
I think as opposed to an ideology sets out principles that we can live by, where we prioritise aspects of human nature, or we try and understand human nature. So for the socialists, it's about the community, for the society. For liberals, it's about the individual. For conservatives, it's about the state and about, that sort of interaction between the individual and the state. Whereas wokeism is about a series of tropes that their followers wheel out in public debate, where you can basically pick out what a woke person is going to say, based on those sorts of tropes.
You can identify woke. You know woke when you see it, even if you can't define it. But I mean, I wrote on Twitter, quote, "The very nature of a healthy political environment is a divisive political system with the left and right tugging at each other at the centre. And a unified political environment is what we call a dictatorship." Now, what are your thoughts on that? Is it important to have this? Some say it's polarising, but I think that we can't have a good political ecosystem if we're not having two distinct sides that talk to each other.
Oh, look, I agree. We need adversarial politics. Adversarial politics is like a form of political competition, and much like the market, it ensures that we don't end up with any one particular government in power forever, or until they die, for example. And that's a good thing. We have peaceful revolutions every 3 years. I really liked what Tony Abbott had to say the other day, where he said, instead of going to 4 years for our federal government, that a government that has been in for 3 years that's bad, has been in long enough, and one that is a good government should be looking forward to the next election. And I really like that idea. And I think part of the problem, though, is that what we're seeing is this sort of woke tropes being wheeled out in a way to try and have the government continue on forever. And the problem is too that the opposition are jumping on that bandwagon as well.
Well, I actually pity the poor historians who are going to have to try and write all this down later and just define what went wrong with all this wokeism. I mean, they're going to have a really rough time.